Now, I think we're all aware of the fact that the number one fear of retirees is running out of money. Financial advisor Azul Wells says that anxiety can cause us to kick the can down the road before we decide to actually leave the workforce.
There's always something that we can be waiting for to say, oh, I don't want to leave now. I don't want to leave now. And while the four most dangerous words for a soon-to-be retiree or a could-be retiree is just one more year, those are the four most dangerous words. So one of the secrets to happiness, I think, and to embracing your retirement and getting on with your journey is being willing to say no to making more money.
Now, we do know there's a bit of a psychological shift when it comes to retirement. One of those things might involve leaving behind that regular paycheck. For somebody who dreads that, how do you help replace that income?
Well, when you're looking at replacing the regular paycheck, I think that helps, figure out and solve that fear of running out of money. And I would say that oftentimes it is hard to turn down the extra income. I know I had a client recently retired, and the company offered him on his terms a great income to be a consultant and come back a couple days, and he really couldn't turn the income down. Chaz, I've seen when you do financial plans and you kind of take the numbers of when they're going to draw money and you push it back a year or two, it can make a big difference in the long run. But really when it comes down to it, to solve that fear of running out of money, what you need to do is you need to figure out what are the steps that you're going to take to replace the regular paycheck in retirement time. And number one, I'd say it's very important to make the correct decision with optimizing your Social Security benefits. The most recent statistic that are out there, I think roughly 70% of people are electing to draw benefits before their full retirement age, ultimately electing not only a lifetime penalty, but potentially a disaster for the survivor benefit and the reduction of locking in that as well. Number two is if you're lucky enough to have a pension, making sure that you understand what your options are. Lump sum might seem really attractive, but when you look at the monthly payout and or the survivorship options, sometimes those survivorship options and or period certain can be better than taking the lump sum. Annuities are a vehicle that have been used for hundreds of years to provide predictable income in retirement. It's mailbox money, and I think a lot of people like to have that consistent mailbox money that comes out of some of the annuities that are out there. If you don't want to work full time, if you don't want to do consulting, still opportunities for part-time work that are out there. Maybe this is an opportunity in life where you find something that you're passionate about, something that you can work at and gives you a little bit of not only satisfaction but some money in your pocket. Again, reducing the amount of money that you need to take out of your 401k or retirement investment accounts. Number 5, looking for dividend-paying stocks. So a good strategy is if you can get a quality basket of dividend-paying stocks and you can live off of the dividend checks and not have to sell the stocks, that could be another good strategy to avoid trying to touch your principal and just live off of the income that's generated. And right now, with the fixed income environment at record highs, making sure that you're upgrading your fixed income investments. So again, if you have traditional fixed income investments and they're earning less than 5%, there are quite a few different opportunities that are out there to be able to upgrade your fixed income investments. And to me, that's how I would say looking at replacing your paycheck in retirement time to something that's consistent there for you and give you some confidence to move into retirement time.
Yeah, and I think this is really where an advisor will earn his keep or her keep, if you will, in that it's okay, it's easy when the markets are volatile to stay invested because you're not worrying about having to take any money out. It's like, oh, okay, the money's in there. I don't need it for 5 or 10 years or so be it. It's down. The market's down right now, but it becomes a little bit of a different feeling when you're retired and you know that I might have to start drawing on those assets. And so this is really where the expertise comes into play and why it's so important that you have these conversations with your financial advisors to understand what their methodology is and what they stand for as it pertains to creating reliable income and how they've developed your retirement income plan, because it's a very different conversation. I use the analogy all the time. You're a climber, Nolan. Climbing up the mountain is a lot different than climbing down the mountain, right? It's a different path. And if it were one thing that I would want, if I were going to climb Mount Everest, I would want a detailed map. I'd want to know where all of the places where I can survive or where I can camp at, because when you're up 20,000 feet in the air, that's the death zone. We talk about it. It's not an extra set of glove zone. That's like, you need to know what you're doing or it's game over, right? Factory reset. So, this is the same thing with your financial life. If you make a poor decision going down the mountain, that's where the majority of the people pass away are when they're climbing Mount Everest. It's not on the way up; it's on the way down. So you have to really have comfort and be confident in your financial advisor and your financial plan to create income. That being said, I think going through the financial planning process sometimes opens up a lot of eyes and light bulbs go off with people, because you don't actually probably need as much as you think you do when you actually look at your retirement income as a percentage of what you were making before you retired. We call that your retirement income replacement ratio. So just take a look at what you expect to be, living on in retirement divided by what you were making before. If that number, just real basic, math here, is somewhere between 75 to 80% of what you were making before, you're probably going to be okay. You've done a good job. You've made the correct Social Security claiming decisions. You've probably got enough for your basic living needs. And then if we structure our retirement plan such that at a minimum, we know, we've done the math, we've backed into it, we know that the basics are covered, because we've covered them with guaranteed sources of income, Social Security, pension if you got it, although less than 8% of the population in America has a pension, and then annuities and other income guarantees and programs that can guarantee you a lifetime income for the basic needs that you're going to spend no matter what. Then if we base your variable needs like travel, hobbies, gifting on variable assets like your market, driven accounts and stocks, mutual funds and things like that, you're probably going to be a lot better off. You're going to be in a much safer position knowing that you've guaranteed, much more comfortable knowing that worst case scenario, I'm not going to be running out of money for food. We don't have to eat cat food or whatever. We're going to be fine. But if we have to hold off on travel, maybe this year, like COVID, market's down, wait one more year and the market's at an all-time high. Those are some of the decisions that we can make kind of on the fly, the more tactical, but you need to have a financial plan that involves understanding what your guaranteed source of expense is, offsetting those guaranteed source of expenses with guaranteed sources of income, and then letting your variable needs, wants, and wishes get dictated by the market money. So long as, I'm okay with volatility in the market, Nolan, as long as it doesn't change my golf schedule.
Even if your house is paid off and your car, your credit is credit cards are at the minimum balance there, you're still going to have monthly expenditures. You're going to have groceries. You're going to have to eat, of course, utilities, things like that. And so if those monthly expenditures are covered by some form of guaranteed income, whether that is Social Security, whether that is a pension, perhaps using another financial strategy, it can go a long way, I think, to addressing that concern about outliving their money. And, of course, having a growth potential in there as well for not just paychecks, but having playchecks as well. Figuring out how it all comes together. Well, guess what? The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, they can help craft that plan for you, custom suited to you, because at the end of the day, what works best for you in your retirement than a plan just for you? That starts with the phone call, 419-794-3030. And again, Nolan mentioned before, there's lots of events coming up, educational events coming up that the team is doing. You can find out more about that by clicking on the events tab at arhq.com. Want to thank you, as we always do, for joining us, spending a little time today with us here on America's Retirement Headquarters. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Nolan, Chaz, thank you for the time. And as we wrap up, want to leave you with the final word.
Yeah, like you said, we've got a lot of great events coming up. We've got an open house. Great time to come over, see the headquarters, find out a little bit about what we're doing. The other great event to come out to is our lab training that we have coming up. So we're going to be walking through the tools and technology and everything that we offer here, and how to get strong in your retirement plan by using the technology to stack the deck of cards in your favor. Again, like Chris said, just go to arhq.com, click on the events tab, and click on a button, come on out. We'd be happy to see you. In the meantime, when you think retirement, think America's Retirement Headquarters. It's home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates.